Hey everyone, it's Jake and Jake's Metal Chat. Hope you're all well, and welcome to episode 11 of my favorite death metal albums. And I'd like to apologize. I was meant to do this yesterday, as I have done every other favorite death metal episodes of mine. Well, obviously filmed either like a day or two before, because obviously I was busy around December. But usually they would get out on a Wednesday. But I didn't record this one on the day because I was doing a lot of running around and I just didn't have time to sit down and do it. So I thought I'll do it this evening. And to apologize for that, I have 7 albums instead of 6. And before I crack on with them, if you haven't heard already or seen the video, Ken of Ken's Death Metal Crypt is leaving YouTube in August of this year. Once he gets to his 10-year mark, he's done. So the channel will be gone, his Instagram will be gone, so you won't be able to contact him unless email him or that any other way you can contact. Yeah, I watched that video he did and I was like, and of course, Mark G with a C said in a video about the same subject from Melanie Loves Death Metal. She did a video before showing off the CDs and CDs that she did for her latest giveaway. That Ken is, and Mark mentioned in the comments he'll be sorely missed, which he is going to be, but we understand why he wants to just be done with it now, because obviously he's got he's got a family and of course a job and everything else, all real life things. And yeah, we're all gonna miss him. Me, Melanie, Mark, Liam, those three. I mentioned them before. Their channels will be down in the description below. Of course, Ken's going to be down there, so do check out his channel before he deletes it and leaves YouTube forever when it gets to August. Very, very cool channel, very incisive. I haven't actually called him this yet, but not at least message him saying that he is. But I call him the death metal guru because his knowledge of death metal is stupid, absolutely freaking ridiculous. How much he knows about death metal, and obviously picking his brain in the interview that I did with him, the chat, and of course he messaged me saying if I wanted to come on the Metal YouTube Appreciation Night, and which I accepted because I appreciate every bit of support that he has given my channel. I don't want anyone else to think that I don't appreciate their support, because I do appreciate his support. He got me on there, and that's how I knew about Melanie Loves Death Metal, and I got Melanie on my chat as well, and she, like Ken, knows her death metal as well and loves it just as much as him. And and I love my death metal as well, and I think Ken loves it more than I do. So that's that goes without saying. He's gonna be sorely missed, and Ken, if you are watching this, thank you for all those demos you've put on your channel, all the videos that you've done about showing death metal bands I didn't even think to go and find and check out. And I found out about a lot of new death metal bands just from watching his videos, watching your videos if you are watching this. And I'm pretty sure there was an album from this year that I bought just solely from watching one of his videos. All on from 2-3 years ago. I have to think on that, but thank you very much. Just thank you for just being this awesome, humble person here on YouTube, being again the death metal guru. In my opinion, you are. So thank you very much, Ken. And if you want to come back on the chat before you leave YouTube, leave YouTube forever and can't talk today, I would love to get you back on, just a catch up, and obviously do that. Obviously do that with past chats as well. But I'd love to get you back on again, Ken, before we go, and to keep in contact with you. So thank you again, Ken. You're awesome, and you're gonna be missed. Definitely, you're gonna be missed here on YouTube, in the metal community here on YouTube. Definitely. Now let's crack on with some death metal. Let's go for it. And here is a band from Gloucester, here in the UK, about an hour on the train. You know, I used to go there a lot. I haven't been there in a while. I'm actually going to be going back there in February. Yeah, this band I found out from when they played Bristol, and they did a cover of a Behemoth song, and such a cool cover. And these guys pretty much have that that vibe about them, and they're just an awesome band. And without further ado, let's get them on. And this is Ascaris. This is their 2018 album, their only album so far. This is their debut, The Raised Hand. Such a great album. These guys formed back in 2012, so they've been a band for 11 years, pretty much. I'm not sure what month they did. They formed, but yeah, 11 years. That's a heck of a long time. Is the back of the CD. There's the CD, and I think there's a bit of a little bit of artwork there. The book there, and who's in the band. Sam, who was the vocalist and guitarist in the band, he's no longer in the band now. He's in Embodiment, which is here in Bristol. Some really cool technical death metal, awesome band. Here's some lyrics from some of the songs. See if I can get. Also, that's one of my favorites there, Sins of the Flesh. And the other one is Crimson. I haven't heard this album in a while, and just hearing it when I first got this album, got it, I think pretty much like on the day, or like maybe a few days later. I'm pretty sure I picked this up at a gig, and I got a Scars t-shirt somewhere in my pile of t-shirts. I need to get them back out again, fold them, all that. Such a solid album, just not just evil sounding black and death metal. Like I said, with they did that cover of Fire and Void by Behemoth, or Behemoth, however you prefer to pronounce the name. And the guitars are just nasty. The guitars, the bass, the drums are just fast and aggressive, which is what you need for a band like this and bands like these guys. It, it, there's parts where it's really fast, and then it slows down a little bit. I don't mean like doom metal slow. I don't mean like that speed. But like, it's definitely like Sins of the Flesh, just straightforward, and then it like goes to like a sort of mid-tempo pace, and it's just a cracking album, and you need to get it. I'm like I said, all the bands are gonna be down below, so you'll be able to find like Bandcamps and things like that. So Yeah, definitely check these guys out. Currently it's just two of them, David. Let me get them up. So Dave and Chris, they've been the bassist and vocalist, and Chris the drummer. Um, I think David told me about what was going on with him. I think at Fuming Mouth, the Fuming Mouth show. I think he came in just as when we're finishing. Um, pretty much what was going on, but I think they found someone new to do vocals, but I'm not gonna say any more than that. There'll be some stuff going on the Facebook page, of course, everything down below. But please do check out Ascaris and the Raised Hand. What an album. Next one is a band from Columbus, Ohio, and I have mentioned these guys here on the channel before. Got to actually see them for the first time at the Griffin, which I've mentioned before. Mentioned before is the metal pub here in Bristol. And I'm coming back to Bristol because I'm on tour with Suffocation, and I can't wait to see Suffocation again. Love their new album from last year. Yet to get it though, but it will be featured in a future episode of my favorite death metal albums, as well as their classics, of course. Yeah, on tour with Suffocation, and I'm trying to remember the other bands on there as well. But yeah, these guys formed in 2019, and when I first heard them, I was just like, oh, nasty stuff. Um, and of course, hearing one song, which is from the album that I'm going to be showing, I just heard it, I was just like, yeah, this is proper nasty, nasty death metal here. This is Sanguisugabogg. This is their debut from 2021, Tortured Whole. And of course, I'm wearing the t-shirt as well, of course. You know, so a bit of both, got the t-shirt and the CD to show you. Of course, the guys on the back. Um, yeah, they played the Griffin 2019, not 2019, sorry, they formed 2019, 2022. There's a CD. Yeah, oh man, that was a cracking show. Just nasty stuff. Got in the pit, of course. Don't mosh as much as I used to, but for the first time here in the UK, go all out war. Some band pictures here. There's the Devin up there, the vocalist, who, when you look on his Instagram page, you can tell the guy works out. He looks like a freaking tank. You know, anyone who does bodybuilding that much is gonna look like a tank by the end of it. Anyone brand new to this band, what do you get? You just get some nasty, sick death metal. But for this one, it blends like slam and brutal slam death, brutal death with old school death metal. So Devon goes from doing like guttural pig squirrel type of vocals for some songs, but for most songs on here anyway, except for like Dead as Shit, which is the first song I ever heard by him, that's just more of him doing like old school style death metal vocals. Firstly there. And yeah, it works for this album. Of course, their other album, where is it? Homicidal Ecstasy, which I do have on vinyl down there. Yet to get on CD. Um, he's not doing he's not pretty much doing any like brutal style death metal vocals there, not all that low guttural stuff. And I don't really listen to a lot of brutal death as much as I used to, but I still got some favorite bands in those genres. But they were one of my, this was one of my favorite albums from 2021, and one of my favorite new bands from that year as well. I know they've been around a lot. They obviously since 2019 released demos. and singles and things like that. And hang on a minute. I'll have to reply to that message in a bit. So I was almost messaging on Facebook. But yeah, definitely if you like nasty sounding death metal, and I mentioned this before, like Crypt Room, Undergain, um, Anatomia, Hypodontia, um, who else? Morbific, and I checked out another band which I've been meaning to check out called Seep, which I thank Melanie loves death metal for that. Melanie loves death metal. Said it too fast then. So I thank her for that. And yeah, here's a band that you need to check out. And once again, this is Sanguisugabogg and Tortured Whole. Awesome, awesome, nasty, disgusting, horrible, dirty, just downright dirty death metal, and that's what you need. Next band from Toronto, Canada, Toronto, Ontario in Canada, formed in 2015, and hang on, I just had them up. Where are they? Where are they? Here we go. Got them. Yeah, 2015, and when I first heard them, I was like, wow, because they did play Bristol back in 2018, I believe, but didn't go to the gig in the end because I was doing driving lessons around that time, which I need to get back on, but that's a different story. And checked them out. I thought, I wish I saw them that day, but hopefully they come back to the UK soon. And I checked out their new album from last year. I really liked it a lot more proggier than this one. This is Tomb Mold. This is their 2018 album, their second album, called Manner of Infinite Forms. And just some another nasty sounding death metal band. Very just quite technical as well in the style, especially for like this album and the other one. Where is it? Planetary Clairvoyance, which I had that one, and of course that one too. I haven't got their debut, and I haven't got their new one either, but I know I can get it. Let's get the booklet out so you can see that, but also let's see the CD, orange on black there. $20 spin, of course, mentioned one of my favorite labels as well as Peaceville, and so many more, but those are two of my absolute favorites. Love how the artwork overlays on the book. And I can't remember who did the artwork. I know they did artwork for Worms, for Everglade. And here's some lyrics. Don't think there's a band picture. Usually band pictures. No, there's no band picture, but you know, some bands put band pictures in their booklet, some don't. Again, to all you newcomers, what do you get with Tomb Mold? You get some old school sounding death metal right here. It's very old school sounding to me anyway. Yeah, Abyss Walker, I will have to say, is my favorite song from this album. Of course, like I said, there's a bunch of these I haven't heard in a while, so I'm going to keep a few of them out, as well as I got 3 CDs there ready, all of the same band. So I'm going to keep this out and just chill out to some death metal. You're thinking, chill out to some death metal? I can chill to death metal. It's quite easy for me. Um, yeah, great band. You know, if you like that more old school sound, it's definitely got that. It's like bands. I'm trying to think who they borrow more from, like more influenced by in terms of like the style. And now thinking about it, maybe like like Incantation. Obviously, the drummer is also the vocalist, and he's got some great vocals, the guitar work, everything on here. Just I've said before, everything just blends so well together. Yeah, definitely an incantation vibe with this band. This album might have like a mix of them and incantation, maybe a bit atheist in terms of like technicality, maybe. Um, yeah, maybe on the technicality parts. A bunch of other bands as well. I'm trying to think to mind, but if you can think any more, like two more or influenced by, then feel free to comment down below. And just what band I need to see them live. I haven't seen them live yet. And if I knew about them a little bit earlier, I would have saw them when they came here. But again, let's hope they do a UK tour soon. But either way, once they do, I'm just gonna bang my head like crazy. That's what I do when I go to death metal shows. I like bang, I'm really like I'm gonna bang my head until my next sore in the morning. And this is definitely a band to do it to. So once again, To Mold and Manner of Infinite Forms, do pick it up if you do not have it yet, as well as a Planetary Clairvoyance. Really awesome old school sounding death metal from Toronto in Canada. Now going to Finland, and this band's been I couldn't pronounce the other names first, but obviously they later moved to Helsinki. And I had the vocalist from this band on the chat as well. They formed in 2007, but did disband in 2023, so last year. Which I'm glad I got to see them live because I saw them in Cardiff, but they did play Bristol when I was at Eradication Fest. But they did play Eradication Fest the day after. They played the Griffin. And then I saw them again 2020 at FinFest. Just awesome festival with so many awesome Finnish death metal bands, and of course Skepticism being more funeral doom, but still awesome all the same. And here is one of them. This is Solothus, and this is their 2020 album, and I believe this was the last one they released before they disbanded. Yep, it's the last one from 2020. It's called Realm of Ash and Blood. Look at that cover. Just sums up the entire album. Just sums it up to a T. This is Death Doom at its. I know I said there's Death Doom about other bands like that at the absolute best, but in terms of like the finish of finishing like the Finnish death metal scene, Death Doom, like Death Doom in Finland, definitely one of the best there. I think there's a book in here. Yep, there's a book. It's just the logo and some lyrics. And I believe there's a band picture. Nope, nope, I thought it was a band picture, so you're not gonna see that. But oh no, wait, that's one right there. There they are. Is the man himself that I have. Where's his name? Curry, or I think it's pronounced Curry or Kerry, but there he is. Uh, got him as a friend on Facebook. He since cut all his hair off now. You know, people like to change up a bit. So I'm just a bit tired. Had a long day today. But uh, either way, I'm relaxing and showing you my favorite death metal albums, being one of these ones. Like I said, Death Doom. If it's got death metal on it, is on the list. With this band, you get that, those dark overtones of just, just Death Doom as a whole. That it is dark and heavy, and just that very. I'm trying to think of a different word to describe bands like this, but yeah, definitely a dark, evil, foreboding album with just the really low death metal growls, the guitars and the bass, the drums, just everything just again with like all of it just blending so well, and it's just solid release. And of course my favorite song would have to be, well, one of them is The Watcher. That's got to be my favorite one from the album, definitely. Bands that I definitely get influences from, like the of course the brothers in metal, Hooded Menace. Definitely, I know they've changed their sound a bit with their last album, but still, maybe just because obviously going by like bands they're similar to, so how from they'll be influenced by. So, like, say for example, uh, there's Room Magic from Sweden, definitely getting that vibe there. In terms of older school death metal, like death doom metal bands, I'm just trying to think. Maybe like early incantations, and maybe like more onwards to Golgotha, and mainly those two, mainly that album, and maybe the second one as well. Um, who else? Maybe Disemboweled from Australia, a little bit. Just various mix of death doom metal bands in there, and I'm trying to think of some more at the top of my head. Maybe Ripakulu from, of course, from Finland. And looking at my jacket, I'm trying to think death doom metal bands. And of course, Solothus is on there on the jacket. Uh, Probably come to me a bit later on the other bands that I think they're definitely influenced by. But this is a very dark sounding album. I haven't, like I said, a lot of these I haven't heard of all. So this one I'll be keeping out, as well as Tomb Mold and Ascaris, and possibly the next one after this one. But if you like more slower death metal, so with that added layer of doom metal and very dark tones, and very evil sounding guitar riffs and low nasty music. And I just thought of another band, Winter. Definitely got some Winter vibes. Not as sludgy as Winter, but still very much that slow nastiness there. So once again, people, brand new to anyone. Of course, haven't been a band since last year, but still check them out. Solothus and Realm of Ash and Blood, and be sure to check out their other albums as well. Next band, I've seen these guys a lot of times, and I got to meet them once, all the way from Greenville, South Carolina. What was it? North Carolina, South Carolina in the US. Formed in 1993, I think. No. The last band show is the oldest running band. Cool. Yeah, again from 1993, and just been tearing it up for nearly 31 years now, and it's amazing how strong these guys are, how strong these guys are, and how long they've been going for. I haven't seen them live. I can't. No, I've seen them like I can't remember the last time I saw them live, but I want to see them again. And I got with my favorite album from theirs. This is the first one they released pretty much at the start of the 2000s. This is Nile and their 2000 album, the album from 2000. As I'll say that instead of what I said before. So their album, pretty much their first album of the 2000s, Black Seeds of Vengeance, and this is just non-stop aggression with this heavy guitar tones, just really like, especially from Carl from this band, low vocals. Snake. Snake on the CD, really cool. Obviously, lyrics involving ancient Egypt, which is really cool. Let's get the book out. Been meaning to get the long sleeve of this because I like the artwork. I love this album. Some lyrics there. Uh, just such a brilliant album, and one that I haven't listened to in quite some time because obviously I've been checking out more bands and more old school sounding bands like the new wave of old school death metal. Oh, some stuff there, and I just hit the mic again. Everyone's gonna know Nile if you are a hardcore death metal nut. You're gonna know Nile inside and out. Anyone new? You gotta check out this band. Like I said, they've been going since 1993. Let's get them up because the list of albums is ridiculous. Um, yeah, the first album was in 1998. And I'm not even going to try and pronounce the last bit of that. I'm not, won't say the whole album, but you're going to know which one it is. Of course, this was the second album and pretty much the first one of the new millennium, being the 21st century. The last one they released was Vile Nilotic Lotic Rights. I think I just said that wrong, but you probably know which one. But it's like, yeah, that one. Again, pronunciation skills, not the best. But obviously, yeah, Egyptian mythology, death rituals, and Lovecraft. And a good amount of the bands I have that are death metal, or a lot of the lyrics are Lovecraft based or Lovecraftian in style. And definitely Lovecraftian style lyrics in there, but mainly to do with ancient Egypt. Of course, the title track being one of my all-time favorite songs by him, as well as this one, Masturbating the War God. That is just as when I saw that album, I saw that song, I was like, oh, I was like, heard it, I was like Nile all over. You hear Nile, it's just Nile all over. And I think the first song I ever heard by him, it wasn't from this one. I think it was from Annihilation of the Wicked. Where is it? Sacrifice unto Sebek. And they had it, yeah, Lashed to the Slave Stick, which is from that album, not from this one, but from Annihilation of the Wicked, which is because I got this one, I got their last album, and I think they're working on something new since the last track. Or I might be making that up and just thinking of someone else. But definitely a band worth your time if you love. They're classed as brutal, technical death metal, but I mean, Nile is death metal, but obviously it's brutal and it's technical. But I just call them death metal. But yeah, they got those brutal parts, the technical parts. It's very technical when you hear it. You know, think of bands like you got like Deeds of Flesh and you know, Defeated Sanity is is technical sometimes, and one of my favorite bands from Germany, Cytotoxin, and excuse me, definitely a band. If you like the more technical side of death metal, this is definitely for you. If you're not into that, this may not be your style, your cup of tea, your bit, whatever analogy you want to use, won't be for you. And of course, it's for me because, of course, it is in my collection and is on this list. You know, again, a very aggressive album, a very aggressive band. Um, their writing style just fits the music so well because you might hear something like this and the writing style might not fit the overall sound of the band. But with these guys, everything just matches up 100%. just throughout this entire album, start to finish, is just it's ridiculous. Of course, released by another famous label, Relapse Records. Yep. Anyone brand new, check these guys out. Of course, all your veterans like you know this band, but you'd be like, haven't heard that in a while. I'll put it on. Brand new death metal fans. Here's Nile and Black Seeds of Vengeance. Right, two more to get through, and I will let you guys get on with your day, your evening, wherever you are in the world. Band from Stockholm, Sweden, as well as the last one I'm going to show. These guys formed in 1998. And of course, feature members from another big Swedish band. And you're gonna know who this is because the first song I heard was not from this album. It was from their 2004 album. This is their debut. This is Bloodbath. And once again, their 2002 release, their debut, Resurrection Through Carnage. And I do love this band. You know, and I usually waiting to say this, but this whole album is awesome. And of course, my favorite tracks from here is Ways to the Grave, So You Die, where is it? Like Fire, Cry My Name, Mass Strangulation as well. Really cool song. All really cool songs. Here's the CD. Of course, the logo's black and the album title's in red. Of course, released by Century Media. Released a lot of good bands, a lot of good death metal ones on there as well. Some lyrics there, and one of the band members right there. Johannes, of course, from Catatonia. Uh, what's Akafar in here? Dan Swan, who's been part of so many bands in Sweden. One of the biggest ones he was in was Edge of Sanity. There he is, Akafar of Opeth. Of course, he was the vocalist in this band. He's not anymore. Those duties have gone to Nick Holmes of Paradise and Lost. And of course, I think for those albums, ones when Nick went back to the HM2 style, because you don't really hear it that much on here, unless there is. It's just covered by something else, but still, the guitar tone is nasty and dirty, and that's what you want with Swedish death metal, just a nasty, dirty guitar tone. And yeah, if you don't have, Bloodbath, but you don't have this album, do pick it up. Like I said, I haven't heard this one in a long time. All Nightmares Made Flesh, which was the second one and last one to feature Dan Swanu on, I believe. If I go on, yeah, Dan Swanall, because it's got two dots on the O. I think that this was the last one to feature him because before they had any albums out in 1990, no, sorry, in 2000, they released their Breeding Death EP, and that is very old school, still very old school sounding death metal, but in the start of the millennium, basically in the start of the 21st century, 2000. Um, like again, I say this a lot, and I'll continue to say it. If you get tired of it, well, there's gonna be new fans of death metal, and this is definitely a band that you need to be aware of if you like your Swedish death metal. Like I said, not that massive overtone of HM2. It might be in there somewhere, but obviously sometimes guitarists use other pedals as well as like famous pedals like the HM2. I'll have to listen to it again and see if it's in there. I'm pretty sure it is, but But the guitar sounds so nasty anyway. It's just like they can be using HM2 and they can be using an pedal with it, but still awesome Swedish death metal. Once again, but before I get to the last band, I've got obviously like I felt was obviously he's still an Opeth now, but obviously the only difference is Opeth he does his growls and he does cleans. In this, he just does growls and occasionally screams as well. And that's how much of a great musician he is because he can go from one to the other just like that. And I don't think cleans would work for something like Bloodbath, but you know, might work for another band later, but it wouldn't work for something that is this heavy and aggressive. So once again, Bloodbath and Resurrection Through Carnage. Right, last one, mentioned them before, also from Stockholm in Sweden, formed in 1988. One of my favourite bands from Sweden. Saw them in 2019 at Scandinavia Death Fest, and obviously the first song I ever heard is from this album because I showed their first album. And of course, I'm on about Dismember, and the album I showed in one of my other videos was Like an Ever-Flowing Stream. That was their debut, sorry. And this is their 1993 album, Indecent and Obscene. And there's the guys on the back, and I got to meet, I think I met them all at Scandinavia Death Fest. All really nice guys, and I also trying to think which one's Fred. Uh, wait, it might be that one. Or was one of the other guys? I'm not sure, but I had him on the chat. Really cool to chat with. He doesn't live in Sweden anymore. He lives in New York. Here's the CD, black and red. Really cool. Same band picture that you get on the back. Here's the cover, of course, torso with entrails hanging out and the band logo. And Materia of course, there on vocals, wearing a cool, I believe that's, yep, Napalm Death. I was with someone else when I was looking through the camera. Of course, David. And of course, the lyrics, what should the lyrics? Richard on the bass. Come on, camera focus. Okay, so I'm not going to focus. Hang on. There we go. Richard. I believe there's Fred. So he's a just trying to think on the back of the picture, but anyway. And I think that's it with the pictures. Oh no, I forgot to show Robert. There it is. But yeah, of course, the first one I ever heard from Dismember is from this album. Where is it? The last track on this album, "Dreaming in Red," and of course, favorite songs on here. Like two of my favorites, I will say, is of course the last track and "Skin Father." Of course, released by Nile label, now a famous label, really cool label. Also like Nuclear Blast, and everyone's gonna know Dismember, even if you just heard their name. But for those who've heard the name but not heard their music, here is the one thing that you need to know about them. Awesome Swedish death metal at its absolute finest. And there's so many more bands from the 90s that I can tell you about. Obviously, like Grave and Entomb, that goes without saying, but there's so many more. Not just HM2 stuff. Obviously, the HM2 is very, very, you know, it's very noticeable on it, of course, because it's a very iconic guitar tone. And I also have the pedal in my guitar over there in my bag. I've played on it, like I said before. It's really cool sound. And everything, you know, obviously some songs are different speeds, like with Skin Farmer just comes in with the guitar, and then some like it's like punkier sort of bits, like but slower down a little bit. With Dreaming in Red, Reborn in Blasphemy, that's a good song as well. Um, Dreaming in Red, what really got me hooked on that song was the opening bass intro. That's what got me into that song and got me into the band, and that, and then hearing that HM2, and then it just kicking the solo before getting into like the vocals. The solo is really cool on this, really awesome album, as you know, and like an ever-flowing stream is still gonna be one of their best albums, and this is closely followed by this one, in my opinion. You might have a different opinion to me, but me personally, this is a good follow-up to like an ever-flowing stream. And I love my death metal, and when it comes to death metal, it's that Swedish tone, that chainsaw guitar sound, which I'm gonna do for my own band once I can just sit down and actually just start writing some stuff again. Because it's one of my favorite guitar tones, and I don't think guitar tones you would normally hear on like other death metal albums, be here from the UK or in the Florida death metal scene. I don't think that would work on something like, especially it wouldn't work on this. Like I said, the HM2, a prominent, very prominent sound. It's very prominent on this album, and it definitely shows when you play this album, and of course their first album, and massive killing capacity. But if you want to start off with Dismember, I mean, there's so many songs you can check out, but one of them I do highly recommend, the last track on here, Dreaming in Red. Such a cracking album. A cracking song on a cracking album. And just a timeless masterpiece here. Beautiful sounding, nasty death metal. Beautiful and nasty at the same time. And it shows. Dismember and Indecent and Obscene. Get it, listen to it. All these albums, listen to them, and form your own opinions. And that's why I do these videos. So I say what I like about them. You can say what you like about them as well down in the comments below. And thank you very much for checking out episode 11 of my favorite death metal albums. Of course, it will be going back to its normal schedule next week, so every Wednesday. And of course, got to do my pretty much end of the month collection updates. So that might either be the 28th or 29th or even 30th. I'm not sure yet, but I've also got the 3 CDs that I got for my gig last year, end of last year, pretty much dead end, yeah, end of the year. But I'm just going to play all at once, and once that's done, I'm gonna do my end of year video, end of my January collection update, and and so on and so forth. And there will be chats coming as well. So thank you very much for tuning into this video. I've been Jake at Jake's Metal Chat. Keep that banner of metal held high, and I will see you all again in the next one.